So this is a sort of preemptive video. Our current prediction for the second fire sign today in the US before sunset, which is in about 3-4 hours time, will expire in 4 hours time if we're wrong. And in case we are, and I think we probably are, I'm making this new and hopefully last video on fire signs, and we now predict the second fire sign for February the 7th, 8th, Friday, Saturday coming, which is Shabbat 8, and the third fire sign is still Shabbat 9, which is the Saturday, Sunday, which is February 8, 9. So we're moving the second fire sign 2 days forward, and this is why we're doing it. In Luke 13, we know that Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues, in the Sabbaths, when the woman was released from her spirit of weakness. That woman is essentially this church, and spirit of weaknesses we can't predict for Toffee's fire signs, not for want of trying. This being the 50th extension to our 552nd prediction, and actually the third prediction within that extension. Shabbat, because we went with Shabbat 6, Shabbat 1, and now again with Shabbat 8 for the second fire sign. We've always gone with Shabbat 9 for the third, because that's the fifth marriage Pentecost, and Jesus has to come to the church at a Pentecost, and he comes on a cloud, and the Ketib sentence count of Elijah's prayer, which counts from Tebeth 2, Elijah's prayer of 1 Kings 18, 36-37, it counts as 38 times, inclusively from Tebeth 2 takes you to Shabbat 9. So we've known that there's a fire sign then, but we've gone with 1, 6 and now 8 for the second fire sign, which precedes it. And to be absolutely sure, we're going to actually say the second fire sign occurs on Shabbat 8 or 9, and the third fire sign occurs on Shabbat 8 or 9, because we don't know really which one comes first, to Britain or America, and we'll be glad if we can get it to within 2 days, let alone 1 day. But we think from 2 Kings 1, one of the fire signs consumes the chief, and the other fire sign consumes the 50. And although the chief is inclusive and therefore part of the 50, so it's so ambiguous, you could say they both must occur on the 9th. But I think one must definitely occur on the 9th also, because there's a Pentecostal. They were sitting in Acts 2 in the house when there was a report of a violent explosion from the heavens. So there's got to be one on the 9th. But I think there'll be one on the 8th too, because the woman was released on a Sabbath. And this woman with the weakness, the prediction in Luke 13. And the thing is, when you count the 4 Sabbaths of Luke 13, they have to be Sabbaths either for this church Zoe or for the Holy Spirit, third Holy Spirit, we've now realised. And even though 4th, was it 5th? It's 5th. Tishri, Heshvan, Chislev, Tebeth. No, 4th 2NC weeks has Sabbaths of Tebeth 8, 15, 22, 29 and Shabbat 6, 13, 20. They aren't Sabbaths that this church celebrates, because they're actually the appointment of the Holy Spirit. I'm not even sure that they celebrate it, it's just a way of counting from their appointment to their installation over 2NC Zoa. So we have to count Sabbaths that we actually obey in this church. And the Sabbaths count from when Jesus was teaching only in one synagogue, which is when the Laodicea fell, which was Tebeth 22. So weekly Sabbaths we obey. So they will be Tebeth 24, Shabbat 1, Shabbat 8. And what I hadn't realised is the monthly Sabbath, you can count that as a Sabbath. And we have been obeying that because Shabbat is the Sabbath month. It's the 6th Sabbath of the 3rd Jubilee of the Kingdom. The 7th Sabbath being El, and the Jubilee, the 3rd Jubilee, being Tishri 2020. El 2020 is the 7th Sabbath of the 3rd Kingdom Jubilee. So you can count that whole Sabbath month as a Sabbath, which he's been teaching in. So he was teaching on Tebeth 24 weekly Sabbath, teaching on Shabbat 1 weekly Sabbath, teaching in the whole of Shabbat monthly Sabbath, and teaching in Shabbat 8. So that would be Sabbaths of mono-synagogue teaching. So we now predict Shabbat 8 for the second fire sign. We rejected it before because I didn't realise you could include a monthly Sabbath in this count of 4 Sabbath. Whereas in the sentence count of 1 Kings 18, the attendant says, look, a mushroom cloud like a man's palm rising from the sea, and that counts as 3 times. It's a cloud like a palm, that's 2 times, and rising from the sea, I think, as 1, because it's rising from the sea, it's going above the sea, so it's cloud above sea. I think that's right, I'm not sure, but the mono synagogue teaching does it anyway. And this game has to be over by Shabbat 9, and there's got to be 2 fire signs before Shabbat 9, so we're going with 8-9 and 8-9 to be absolutely sure. That's basically it. There's a slight technical problem in that we had to stop going around Jericho with circumnavigations in the 7th, well actually in the 8th month, which is Tebeth of the 7th year of our campaign, because you go around in the 7th campaign day, you go around 7 times, not 8 times. So you can go around a bit of the 8th month, but not the whole of the 8th month. So in other words, we had to stop going around in circles before Tebeth 30. Now we did that with prediction extensions. We made the prediction extension out to Shabbat 16. We made that on Tebeth 22, and all we've been doing since then has been firing at different dates within that extension. So if you argue that Jericho only applies to prediction extensions, we haven't broken it. We haven't gone round another time, because we pushed it out to Shabbat 16 on Tebeth 22. But I did not see the fact that you could count a monthly Sabbath in the mono synagogue teaching of Luke 13, 4 Sabbaths. I didn't see that until 2 o'clock this morning, February the 6th, which was Shabbat 6. So that was in Shabbat. So if you say going for fire signs, then I don't have a right to do that in this month because Jericho should have finished. But if you say that Jericho just applies to prediction extensions, which is fine because they create the space for the fire signs, I think that probably works. So there's a slight technicality with that. But that's it. So now we predict, finally, this weekend basically, February 7, 8, 9, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is Shabbat 8, 9, for the 2nd and 3rd fire signs of 1 Kings 18. One producing a mushroom cloud over the Hudson in Manhattan, the other producing a mushroom cloud over the Thames round about Dartford east of London. And one is a pillar of fire and the other is a pillar of cloud. Now the other thing is that in Solomon's Temple, if you do properly the analysis and compare 2 Chronicles 5, 6 and 7 with 1 Kings 8, you will see that the order of events was, and it's not easy, you have to interpret his prayer. This is covered in Understanding 654. You will see that first of all Solomon congregated everybody together, then they made a whole bunch of sacrifices, then Solomon made his big long 20-verse prayer saying please accept this house and please put your ark in it. Then the fire came down from the heavens and consumed the burnt offering, which was a bull. So that's the fire consuming the bull, which is 1 Kings 18. Then the priests put the ark in the house, then they came out of the house, then the cloud filled the house, and that was the cloud. So the fire preceded the cloud. So going to the Exodus 14 model, the pillar of fire would precede the pillar of cloud. And a pillar of fire is what you see at night, and a pillar of cloud is what you see at day. So we think that the 2nd fire sign occurs at night, and the 3rd fire sign occurs during the day, from those reasonings. So we expect that the 2nd fire sign to be in the night, probably of the 7th or 8th of February, which is Shabbat 8, and the 3rd fire sign in the day of the 8th or 9th of February, which is Shabbat 9. But we're going, as I say, for Shabbat 8, 9, which is February 7, 8, 9, this weekend. Thank you.